All right, welcome back to another chaotic episode where we pretend like we know what we're talking about.
You always say that.
Yeah.
I think we know what we're talking about. Anyways, I'm Ren,
And I'm Day, and we are the shared shelf.
and today we're going to talk about burnout and imposter syndrome and all those fun, terrible mental things that come along with writing. Where do we want to start? I got a list.
You got a list. Well, let's start with burnout.
All right. So for burnout, how I feel like people might possibly overuse the term burnout.
I think so.
But for me, with writing, what burnout feels like is being too tired to even think about writing, as well as you're doing everything right and you know you are, but you feel like you're doing everything wrong and you're just like finding absolutely no joy in what you're doing. And I do believe that burnout to me is not really like a lack of discipline, but like a lack of resting and taking things too far. And I think it's really common for writers or any type of creative because we're passionate, enjoying what we're doing, that we don't really notice we're burning out until you're too far gone. Speaking from personal experience,
Me too.
what does burnout feel like for you?
It's just being like really tired. I find like mentally tired and like you go to sit down to write and you just can't. Like I just feel sick to my stomach. Like it just makes me feel really anxious and I tend to not be as productive. And it's like not necessarily that I'm not thinking about the book because I'll still probably think about it and then feel guilty about not doing it. But I just find it's like a mental exhaustion.
Yeah, I do believe writer's block 9 times out of 10. No, I was gonna say 9 times out of 10 it's from burnout, but I'm gonna more so say I think there's two main causes of writer's block. One is burnout, and then two is lack of planning.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I think hyperfixation can also lead to burnout. Like if you, which is common for writers, if you tend to not force yourself to take breaks or you write too much or you're, neglecting your needs, that's another thing that can lead to burnout.
Yeah. And I wrote down some solutions to burnout that I use. And the first one, people are going to laugh at this because it's so obvious, but rest is important and productive.
And
It's
productive.
very productive. But I know saying that is not helpful because I didn't do that for a long time. So instead, I wanted to kind of go through how I like, because sometimes I think when people burn out is they'll take that rest, and I'm in the spot right now actually because I wrote every day for about 2 weeks and I haven't wrote now in 5 days, and I don't really want to get back into it. I'm not burnt out, but I just don't really have the motivation I had before. And how I fix that is kind of just shifting my mindset towards it. So a lot of times when I burn out, it's because I have a deadline or I'm setting unrealistic goals for myself and trying to force myself to hit them. So I tried to shift my goals to smaller things like writing every day for 20 minutes instead of focusing on writing a chapter a week or sorry, a chapter a day, or like big goals, like just trying to make them small goals and then prioritizing the progress more so. That's one of the main things I do to slowly pull myself out of burnout, because if you lose motivation on writing, like, you can totally just stop writing forever. No one's forcing you to do this.
Yes.
So you kind of have to force yourself to slowly get back into it without redoing the cycle.
Um, I have not touched books for 6 months, which is why it takes me so long to write a first draft because I tend to get really frozen and tired around the arc, like just before the climax every single time. And then I get overwhelmed by how much work it is too. And that's another sign that you're kind of not in the right headspace to keep writing. So rest is important. But getting yourself back up, like I think talking to your friends about it is another way that you can kind of push yourself, like having other author friends that are like, hey, did you write this week? And you're like, no,
Yeah, it really helps that we live together.
no.
There's so many times where I'm not writing and I see Dalen working on it and I'm like, oh, maybe I should do that. Maybe I should write. Outside of like forcing yourself to do it, reading helps me a lot.
Same.
And just reading fluff normally, like stuff that I can push through really easily and quickly, it inspires me again. Or reading my genre.
I can also recommend as a film person that I enjoy watching TV shows and movies during non-writing periods because I find sometimes the visualization of movies really kind of inspires me. Like things that I know inspire my works, like Star Wars, I'll watch, like things I've already seen, because I'm autistic, and apparently that's a comfort thing. So I think that it is okay to rot when you're in burnout and hibernate, but you need to be able to pull yourself out of it.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to shift us over to imposter syndrome because I feel like imposter syndrome can lead to burnout.
Yes.
Um, imposter syndrome, when it revolves around writing, is, well, just self doubt in general.
Self
It
doubt.
is impossible to not feel that when you're working on something that is creative, or if you're trying to take a creative passion like more seriously, like if you're trying to publish and stuff. Um, I know this is like a common saying. I can't remember the whole thing, but like comparison kills creativity.
Yeah.
And I forget what the second half of that saying is, but there's something. Um, but yeah, so
Imposter syndrome can also just feel like a lot of anxiety that stops you from writing
mhm,
or stops you from publishing or stops you from, it's like a fear that you're not good enough, that you can't compete with
mhm,
other people within the genre. And I think that with you kind of just have to ignore it.
yep.
That's like everybody feels it, and there are going to be people who don't like your writing, and that's okay, but there's going to be people that absolutely love your writing, and you have to do it for them, you have to do it for yourself, for your characters, like kind of pushing yourself through that imposter, like you're a writer, accept it.
And I think you can, what am I trying to say here? You can like still feel proud of your writing and then still feel insecure
Yeah, be proud that you finished it, because
if you
like
finish.
if you finish, but that's the thing, like if you can finish the story, then you are 70% better than most people because a lot of people don't finish.
Yeah. And sorry, my brain made a sex joke.
Some people don't finish.
Anyways, I was just gonna say what comparison is 9 times out of 10, you're comparing your first draft to someone else's final draft. Or even if you're comparing your debut novel to an author that you absolutely love, they've probably wrote 15, 20 books. So shifting your mindset from reading like other people's books, and instead of going, holy crap, there's such a good author, I could never do this, decide what about the writing do you like, and is that something that you can try to incorporate into your writing. Like, do you like their writing style? Do they use a word that you normally don't think about and you go, that's a sick word, write that word down? Well, you know what I mean?
I think
Use
with
it to learn and evolve.
Yeah, and I think on top of learning and evolving too, like if you're unsure about something, like if you're struggling with world building, phrases, etc., buy some books, take a class. Like
YouTube.
YouTube, like you are capable of learning of how to do these things. Like anyone can do these things, but not everyone.
Mm-hmm. I also think other, like on that vein of comparison, other offers success does not have anything to do with you. It doesn't take away your accomplishments.
Yes, if you publish and you don't get noticed for a decade, that's still okay.
Yeah, I forget the stat, but they were saying something about like most indie books do not sell over 100 copies. So if you even just sell 100 copies, whether that's online or in person, like then you've made it compared to 90% of offers or whatever that statistic is. It's a shockingly large number. So yeah. Also want to say that both people's like writing styles and processes and publishing processes all vary completely different. We all see online the people who are publishing like several books a year. That is not
Nope.
realistic. That's not realistic. Yes, people do it and they can do it, and I'm very proud of them for doing that, but not everybody's doing that. Majority of my author friends are publishing one a year, similar to me. I know people who are publishing every other year. I know people who have published a lot of times if someone's rapid releasing, like releasing 2, 3, 4 books in a year, they have not just wrote them on the fly. They wrote them years ago and now they're releasing them all at once.
That's what I'm probably gonna do.
Yeah, and a lot of the people who are writing and releasing really fast, they're just louder. They're louder than the rest of us because they have something to market all the time. They always have new, fresh stuff coming out that they can keep pushing. Where most offers, I think, involving myself, we have lull periods where marketing kind of plateaus because we don't have anything going on. You have to write to publish. I consider myself to be in a plateau point right now. Like it's winter, I'm not doing my offer events, so I'm not selling books in person right now. It is holiday season and I write summer romances, so my online reads are down. My marketing has been down. I haven't been putting effort into it because I've been focusing on writing. And all of that is just a part of the process. And that does not, like, I do not have self doubt around that, but that would be a very easy place to fall into that self criticism of going, oh my God, my book's not selling.
I'm in the editing process right now, and I'm questioning if I should ever publish. So, but that is, I know, my imposter syndrome talking, because like I have an English degree and I'm very creative, and I have like I write like a filmmaker. That's how I would identify myself as, and like I think this story is fun and it's politically engaged and it's gonna make a lot of people mad, and I hope it does, because
Mhm.
that's the point. So it's like I'm proud of that. I just want it to not just be good. I want it to be great, and that's what I'm struggling with, is like pushing through that. Like I need to just let it go.
Self doubt's inevitable.
It is inevitable.
And I think when trying to think, what was I going to say here when you're talking about editing. All right, so she was telling me that you're editing and you're like, I'm cutting out full paragraphs and
Oh
stuff
yeah.
like that, and she was really doubting her edits. And then I pulled up the first couple drafts of Tidebound, which was my first, like, my debut novel, and I severely underwrote it and had to change the plot multiple times. And so I showed her my old draft, and there are just chunks, like full chapters that are rewritten. And then there's some chapters where there's only a couple words changed. And it all depended on the quality of my writing that day. So it just has to exist. But I would say instead of sitting and asking yourself, like, what's wrong with the book, I would try to remember or ask yourself other questions like, why do you care? Why are you doing this? Why does this excite you? Why should people be reading it? Um, what's it about at its core? I don't care if it is the smuttiest romance fantasy novel in the world. What is the theme? Remembering stuff
Yes.
like that.
Like, and I think as well too, like you have to detach yourself. Like your story has been bugging you for a reason. And it like your characters need you to finish it. Like I sometimes just I'm like their story for me, they're frozen in my head until I go back to them. Like I don't know how their life ends. So I don't know. I feel like sometimes viewing it as like returning to the core reason why you started this, the spark
Mm-hmm.
of the story, is a good way to kind of push through burnout and take burnout as just an opportunity to reflect back on what you've done.
Can I have the mic, please?
Yeah.
I have something very important to say. None of your writing will be original. And why do I say that? Why is this important? Because absolutely everything in some way, shape, or form has been written before.
Yep.
And that might discourage you because there's times where I've been writing and I'm like, this scene is cliche, or
Oh
this
yeah.
scene is silly, or oh my, are you reading? You'll write something and then you'll read a book and then that exact same thing happens. Like my next book, they're hemomancers, so they use blood magic, and I was like, how sick would it be if when they cried blood? And then I read Bare Bones in the Midnight Soil, and the vampires cry blood, and I went, crap, I can't do that. That's not original. I still could totally do that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to. But like that's my point, is it's like so many people I think have self-doubt because they don't think they're creative enough or they're original enough, but everything has been written before. And that should be freeing to you because that just means that you get to write it your way because everything's been written before, but nobody has your voice in your
In
story.
your story.
So that's, you
Because
can have the mic back.
it's like even right now I'm writing a Michael v. Lucifer story. You know how many times it's been done? I've read more people in the genre and I'm like, I wouldn't write it like that. And that is why I'm writing my own.
Huh. So if you needed this today, just know you're not alone. And if you want people to write with or talk to and vent with stuff like this, we do have a Discord. It's called the Shared Shelf. The link will be in the bio. And feel free to join us and write with us and
Or not write with us.
or just chat. Yeah.
Be a potato. I'm probably going to be a potato.
I'm gonna be a potato for the rest of the day.
Me too. I'm going to go game.
The moment we're done this, I'm watching Hasbro. I've decided.
All right. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.